happening, you know, shrouded in failures by the system, institutionalised racism in the police, and she was awarded an OBE in 2003, I think, and she's worked very hard to combat this and to improve the situation.
I mean, even today you see a lot of racism. I mean, just I think was it a couple of years ago with the riots in London over the young man who was shot by the police, and you know the details of what happened prior to that were very ambiguous, and it shows that there's still a lot of racial inequality today.
Still a lot of work to do.
mean, you know, is Black History Month still relevant for us? I mean, considering, you know, what's going on, and what does it hope to achieve, Sister Nazia?
I think it is relevant because when, you know, as the sister said, when they teach during that period, they're showing you a lot about history, and what is good to see is the fact that the awareness comes that actually things haven't changed. And I think for me that was one of the things that stood out. When you look at the problems that we are facing today in society, it's still there. The racism is still there. I mean, I was looking at some statistics that, you know, BBC Online, they did a commission poll in terms of in the workplace, how the relationships are. And 1 out of 4 of the population have come across racism in the workplace. It said 1 in 3 say that people actually mind working with people of a different race.
That's really shocking.
Which is, you know, it's just unbelievable. 48% believe that the colour of a person's skin makes a difference to how they're treated in the workplace. So these are like really shocking statistics. I mean, another example is Islamophobia, which has now been dubbed as a new rise, a new form of racism. You know, and what it says is Muslims are 3% of the UK population, of which 44% of all deaths resulting are Muslim, and it was racially motivated. Again, institutional racism, we mentioned this. In The Guardian, it was reported, this was in April, that the Metropolitan Black Police Association, this is the biggest group representing the minority officers, they said the forces failed to change racist mindset within, behind the Stephen Lawrence failures. So again, it's just pointing to the fact that when you look to history, the problems that were faced, they're still here. They're still here. So I know, you know, they do the Black History Month, but the point is, I think it's more important to be aware of the fact that we still have problems, and ultimately it's based upon the relationships that exist within society that need to be tackled. Why is it that people are treated differently?
I mean, Sister Sakina, I mean, considering that we still have racism today, as Sister Nazia has said, I mean, you know, is Black History Month still relevant? I mean, you know, in light of all of these things, what is the, you know, what are we hoping to achieve through this month, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, going back to Rosa Parks, when she asked why she was being treated this way, she was told because we can. So at that point, that's where she was at. It was allowed. There was no laws against it. So they were fighting against that. So it's nice for us to know that this is what's happened, so that we can now think, okay, if that's what was the case, if people say that we're going to treat you differently, or we're going to restrict your opportunities in life because we can, there's something that we need to do about that as people. Everyone has to take the onus upon themselves to feel that, no, I don't believe that's okay, that's not right. I should have the same opportunities in life as anybody else. I mean, when you look about, when you look at skin colour, I mean, all it is really is higher degrees of pigmentation or the opposite. That's all colour is. But unfortunately, what's happened is that people see it as being has been a bit higher and a bit lower, but what it means is the pigmentation is higher or lower. That's all it is. So what Black History Month has done is that it's just highlighted these issues, and it's for every person to then take it upon themselves to do something about it, either being on the side of not being discriminatory against another person, or defending themselves and saying, no, you shouldn't talk to me like that, or you shouldn't treat me like that because I have a right, as you do, to be happy and so on.
I think as well it's important to recognise that, you know, yes, there is still a lot of work to be done, but there has been a lot of progress. You know, as you said, the response was just horrible because I can treat you badly, that's why I'm doing it. And I think as well it kind of, it's equipping especially young children with tools to know how to move forward in these sometimes oppressive situations.
But it's still hard to believe. I mean, you know, we've come so far in terms of knowledge and all of these things, but still we can't understand that it's just biology.
Yeah.
It's not something that we choose,
Yeah.
and I find it ludicrous that some people are still judging others based on how they look and their features.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
it's really shocking.
I think that probably just stems from the fact that some people want power, wealth, and to hold on to that power, wealth, they can't keep it all to themselves, so they will have to share it out with some people, but probably just the people that look similar to us. And we will stop other people from having it, because if we let others have some of this power or wealth, it will reduce what we have. So this racism thing is basically trying to uphold a status quo, so that we have what we have and you can't have it. And we'll probably give you the reasons why you can't have what we have is because you're probably not as intelligent as us, or you're not as hardworking. And we're going to try and put blocks in place so that you cannot get what we have. So when other people see that you do not get what we have, they'll believe it's because you're not hardworking, but really things have been put in place to stop you from having it. So, and Black History Month is really there just to highlight that these issues are there. But as Muslims, alhamdulillah, we don't have to believe that, because we can have whatever we want to have.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just it's understanding that, you know, we're all human beings. I mean, Sister Nazia, what's the Islamic perspective on this issue?
I think the heart of it is to ask first, what is racism? Yeah, racism is the feeling of superiority over another individual based upon how they look or their physical features or the skin color. This is what racism is. Now, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, when he was made the prophet, racism existed within Meccan society. You know, the Quraysh, they had the viewpoint that they were superior as a tribe, not just as a tribe, but they were superior than any other nation as well. So they had this kind of complex there. And the result of that was that when the messenger came, imagine this was 1400 years ago, and he came with this this principle that no, actually, you know what, Surah Hujurat says, "O mankind, we have created you from male and female, and made you into nations and tribes that you know one another. Verily, the most honourable of you in the sight of Allah is the one who has taqwa amongst you." So this clearly is telling you it's not about what colour you are. Doesn't matter what you look like, your features. None of this is important. It is your taqwa. It is your God-fearingness, your righteous deeds. These are the things that elevates a person, an individual. So with this thinking, you can imagine how it transformed the society. You know, a society that once had slavery, it had a hierarchy in terms of class system. There was, you know, nationalism, tribalism, strong ties there. Suddenly, Islam, when it came, it began to abolish this way of thinking. It totally eradicated this. And we see a society that was amazing for 1400 years ago. When you imagine something like Salah, which is a fundamental principle in Islam, the first caller to prayer, the muezzin, was Bilal radiallahu anhu, and his origin was of Abyssinian descent. Similarly, we have another example of Usama bin Zayd. Now, he was made a commander of the armies, like he was sent by the Prophet ﷺ to Syria to fight the Romans. He was also of Abyssinian descent on his mother's side. So this is incredible. When you look to other civilizations, what civilization can talk like this 1400 years ago? It's just unthinkable what it brought as a society.
I mean, mashallah, it's amazing, because even from Prophet Muhammad's own example, he married women from different nations and different tribes, just to you know, prove the point that, you know, we are all one, we're all brothers and sisters. You know, it's okay to be different.
Yes, subhanallah. I mean, going on from what you said about Usama bin Zayd, his mother, Ayman, subhanallah, she was the first person to actually hold Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a black woman. So, you know, Allah has given her that status that you are the first to hold my beloved. I mean, that is just unbelievable. And she dedicated her whole life. When Amina, his mother, was sick, Amina told Barakat, Ayman, please, you know, be a mother to him, don't leave him. And she went with the Prophet ﷺ to Abdul Muttalib. When Abdul Muttalib passed away, she went with him to Abu Talib. When Abu Talib passed away, well, didn't pass away, but when he got married to Khadija, radiallahu anha, that's when, you know, they said, please get married. You know, you've sacrificed so many years for me. Please get married. And so she got married, and, you know, she spent her whole life just with them. With Rasulullah.
I think what's amazing is the fact that it was so forward, you know, in terms of what it did for society. It was amazing. I have to put this hadith in, but it was reported by Anas that the Messenger said, "Hear and obey, even if it's an Abyssinian slave who's placed in authority over you." So to me, that just shows you how colour was never an issue. It looked at human beings as human beings.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, when discussing this issue of race, I always remember the last sermon of the Prophet ﷺ, when, you know, he said that an Arab is no better than a non-Arab, and a non-Arab is no better than an Arab, and a white is not better than a black, and a black is not better than a white. And that just goes to show, like, this is his last sermon, you know, not long before he passed away, and he made this point. You know, he you know, just this is an emphasis on the fact that there is no difference between us in the eyes of Allah except for our deeds. So, subhanallah.
I just wanted to mention, I know you mentioned briefly Bilal. I came across a really nice story that I'd never heard before, so I just wanted to share it with you guys. It was Abu Dar and Bilal. They were having a discussion which got a bit heated and led to a debate. And in anger, Abu Dar said to Bilal, "You cannot comprehend this issue, O son of a black woman." And obviously Bilal was upset and angered by this. They went their separate ways, and a few days later the Prophet, peace be upon him, approached Abu Dar and kind of reprimanded him for this. And he said, "You've still got the kind of this Jahiliyyah attitude. Islam came and freed us from this and told us that, you know, blood and colour and fame and all these things don't feed into the worth of a person, only your piety to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." And Abu Dar was so ashamed that he went to Bilal's house and he actually put his head on the threshold, put his head on the floor in front of his house, and he said, "Bilal, I'm not lifting my head until, you know, you kind of trample on it to kind of pay me back for what I've done." But Bilal, subhanAllah, he came out and he said to Abu Dar, "This face deserves to be kissed, not trampled on," and he forgave him immediately. So what a lovely story.
I mean, if we could just have one take-home message from you on this subject, Sister Sakina, what would it be?
I'd say that Allah is in the opinion of his slave. If you think good, you will find it. If you think otherwise, you will find it. So it's for us to always think positive and have husnul dhan, or for ourselves and of other people, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair, sisters. It's been an amazing discussion. Racism, unfortunately, still does occur in many societies, despite our recognition of the hindrances it causes towards the progress of mankind. Recognizing and celebrating the achievements and sacrifices of the past can remind us why fighting inequality is still important today. Even after the civil rights movement, for us Muslims, our religion teaches us that all mankind is equal and our righteousness is truly our pedestal of worthiness. Allah says in Surah Al-Hujurat, verse 13, "O mankind, we have created you from a male and female and have made you into nations and tribes so that you may get to know one another, not that you may despise one another." So we've had a really great discussion today, but what do you think? We'd love to hear from you and your comments. Please email us at womensam@islamchannel.tv or tweet us at Women's Islam Channel, #WomensAM, or contact us on our Facebook page. We're off to another break, but do stay tuned as we'll be back with our last segment, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome to the Grill Restaurant. We take great pride in serving you fresh, high-quality food prepared on a char grill and served with an elegant fusion of taste. Our menu offers a wide range of HMC-certified healthy grilled food, tasty